here this morning for a special board meeting. So with that being said, I would like to call the August 19th, 2020 Findlay City School Board of Education meeting to order. Mr. Barnhart, would you call the roll?
Okay, Ms. Iyer?
Here.
Mr. Cooper?
Here.
Dr. Stephen Eller Wilson?
Here.
Mr. Aldridge?
Here.
And Mrs. Russell?
Thank you. Moving on, we have just a couple of discussion items here. Mr. Roth will cover those briefly.
All right, thank you. Good morning. Thank you to everyone for joining us. First two items are policies. First reading of some new policy. The first one is 3.08, Findlay City Schools Website Accessibility Directive. Martin White has been working on this for about 6, 7, 8 months now to make sure our website is ADA compliant. Found out last year that this was going to be necessary, so Mr. White has been working on this. Findlay City Schools is committed to ensuring accessibility of its website to students and parents, employees, and members of the community with disabilities. So this policy 3.08 outlines how that's going to take place. It outlines some staff training, who is responsible for that. It also outlines Martin White as the person who will handle any inquiries into complaints or issues regarding our website accessibility for those with disabilities. So great job by Mr. White, our Chief Information Officer, Technology Director, for putting that together and being diligent on making sure we are compliant and meet ADA requirements as well. So that is just the first reading. And then the second policy is an update to Title IX requirements. This will be policy 7.26. These are requirements that are mandated by law. Some Title IX requirements have changed. We've worked with our attorneys to make sure we have this policy in line with what needs to be there. If you look through it, I just highlighted a few things. Definitions, updated some definitions from sexual harassment to a complainant to a respondent to a formal complaint. It talks about our duty to respond, supportive measures. It also identifies Krista Miller, or the Assistant Superintendent, as your Title IX coordinator. So that is outlined in there as well. It also outlines the investigation procedure if there is a complaint, how that will be handled. And then also some training that is required. Myself, Krista Miller, as the Assistant Superintendent, and Janice Punuto will all receive additional training in the upcoming month. Through our attorney, Scott Scriven. They are doing some trainings. You have to name a Title IX coordinator and investigator. That's our assistant superintendent. And then you have to name a decision maker, and that will be Janice Canuto. And then you also have to have an appeals decision maker, and that will be myself. So the three of us will be receiving additional training here in the upcoming weeks to make sure we meet the requirements of the new Title IX legislation. So just the first reading today to put that in front of you. We will have that on the August 31st board agenda for final approval to get those policies enacted.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Roth. All right, then we'll move on to action items. And our action items today are around fall sports. For those of you that maybe followed the governor's conference yesterday, he did give an approval for the state, and so what we're going to do is have a motion to approve, and then a second, and then we'll have a discussion. We have with us today our athletic director, Nate Wyra, and after discussion, then we'll actually take the vote. Okay? So, the motion is to continue the fall sports program in Findlay City Schools. It will be active on August 21st, which is this Friday, and then hopefully we'll run just through the whole season, smooth as we can. So, motion to approve.
So moved.
Matt, second?
Second.
Chris? Okay, Mr. Wyrock, would you like to?
I'll go ahead and start,
Okay.
Nate.
Mr.
I appreciate Mr. Wyrow being here. The amount of work Mr. Wyrow has put in this summer has been enormous to keep our athletes safe and to put safety protocols in place, hoping to get to a point where we can continue fall athletics. As Dr. Stephen Eller Wilson said, yesterday the governor issued his order permitting the playing of fall sports. This now includes contact sports, which includes boys and girls soccer and football. for the sports that we play. I believe also, Nate, is it lacrosse or not lacrosse? Lacrosse is another contact sport in the fall. So the governor issued his order stating that fall sports can continue, including non-contact sports. We have yet to see what that order looks like. We're hoping to have that today by noon. This is pretty essential that we have that soon. Mr. Wyrell does have a home event Friday night that we are not sure what the regulations and protocols and how to administer that event just yet. So hopefully we'll see those protocols and the order from the governor officially today, but yesterday he did issue an order that fall sports can continue. So I'll let Mr. Wyrell speak here and update you on what he has been doing to make sure we're following protocols and keeping our athletes and coaches safe.
Good deal. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for this opportunity here. Obviously, I gave before you today the protocols and safety measures that we've been doing throughout our high school. And let me begin by also saying that our health and our safety of our student athletes in our community is certainly the most important. The value about athletics. Obviously, you have been part of athletics before and part of teams. Athletics, I know, for me, has also provided an opportunity for our kids to be successful citizens, work on their academics, their GPAs, self-discipline, physical and emotional wellness. I also believe it teaches us life lessons, goal setting, discipline, how to fail and win with dignity, teamwork, goal setting, communication, and leadership. Now, this athletics teaches us all this, but I really fear that if we do not have athletics, and I'm not just in Findlay as a whole, but as a society, I really am concerned about increase in teen pregnancy, crime rate, drug abuse, GPAs, academics, depression, mental awareness, suicide. I worry and I fear for that just in society as a whole if we do not have athletics and giving the kids something to do. I know on page 2 here, we talk about our protection and safety. We've been blessed with our custodians have really worked hard this past summer and certainly are working hard right now, but along with our coaches and our athletic department, I know that we've been using all the cleaning products of Spick and Span, so after use, we've been using that, spraying it down. We currently, right now at high school, we have no locker rooms. We've been using X's and O's. And when the child comes on in, they put their items and their belongings on an X or on an O. And we do use social distancing and face masks. We have tried to reduce exposure to teams, so non-contact sports such as volleyball, for example. We've had all of our scrimmages this past year were all multi-team scrimmages. So what we did was we eliminated them. And what we done is we just played dual scrimmages. So we've had dual scrimmages, but we've only played with Orange counties, and we just actually brought in, a team at that one point in time. So we actually had a scrimmage yesterday with another school. Transportation, Mr. Roth and Mr. Emke, we've looked at transportation on how, if a child, if there's fears and there's concerns for parents, they can take their own child to the contest, provided they can write off something, certainly. Now, if Mr. Roth could not go and I could go, I could not take his child at this point in time, but they could take their own child to and from. When a child does arrive to school, here at athletics, at the high school, we have stations. So each spot is marked out 6 feet apart. And they actually come, and then the coaches take their temperature, and they have an opportunity at that point in time to take their phone, their simple phone, and take over top the QR code. I tried to write that down here, that little picture, but I made it too small for you to actually do it yourself. But that gives the child the opportunity right then and there to take that survey. If they do not have their phone or their camera does not work, in that point in time, then we do everything manually. We've been fortunate the governor's office actually has liked what we have done. They've actually came on down and actually took just to kind of see what we've done with our process. But certainly it has been successful for us at this point in time. I like to believe that with our cleaning that we have done, that we continue to do, and with our help with our daily screenings, the kids are I wanna say that they're almost safer when they're coming to the high school, because we know where they're at, we know what they're doing, they're checking in with us. Not that they may not be getting that at home, but I know that when they're coming here, they're at least getting checked in with us, and we can help with symptoms. If a child does come in with a symptom, then we ask them to leave, and they stay at home, they quarantine at home. As Mr. Roth did allude to, we have contact sports of football, and boys and girls soccer will be here in the fall. And then our non-contact sports, cross-country, volleyball has now been considered a non-contact sport. Golf and tennis as well. For our extracurriculars, we also have our extra band, dance team, cheer. Obviously, cheer will probably go along with the contact sports being with football. There's going to be extra guidelines. I know that I've included in your packet guidelines that we have done, and also for our individual guidelines per team, right? So when we go to a golf event, for example, on Monday morning, I was out at Sycamore taking temperatures of all schools that were actually coming on in. So we do have specific guidelines, not only just for the school in general, but sport specific. As Mr. Roth did mention, the governor's office did come on out yesterday and said that by noon today, we would have further protocols with that. I anticipate them coming out and saying that you're gonna have limit travel teams and who can actually go to away events. Travel teams, you may be looking at football of up to 55 people, up to 60, whatever the case may be. I know for our league currently right now, we're looking at up to 55 would go to on these travel teams. But that will come out in that order today around noon. Now, we have, within the packet too, the final 2 pages, you have our monitoring sheet that we do, and then also if someone does test positive and let's be honest, it's probably going to happen. It's nothing that we have done, or the school, but we have some clean facilities, we really do. But as I mentioned, we have control of our athletes when they come here to the high school. But my concern is, and that's our bubble. We've been practicing football at night, so the kids would get tired, so they're not out running around in the summertime, right? And then in the morning, so that they're up early. But so we have control of them when they're in our bubble. The problem is when they go outside the bubble, obviously. But we have 563 student athletes this fall, and that includes band. And I will say, I think our coaches have been doing a pretty good job. Our kids have been doing a pretty good job taking this serious. I believe that this season, this fall, is going to be based upon who can be the most disciplined and the healthiest. And I believe our toughest opponent this year is going to be Corona. And we're up to the challenge, and we just ask for that opportunity to continue. Are there any questions that I may help answer?
I have a question.
Yes.
So the order has not officially come out. It will be out today.
Correct.
So we really don't know exactly what's in it, but can we assume that that order will be followed to the letter here in Findlay for the athletic department?
Yes, I mean, we're going to do our best to make everything is certainly followed. I mean, I know my office and me, we put a lot of time into making sure that everything with our guidelines, we're going to obviously do our very, very best.
And I'll just add that, we've been following the guidance of our local health department, and their recommendation is that we follow the governor's orders. So they're not gonna make a specific recommendation towards athletics. Their recommendation is that you follow the governor's orders. Thank you, Mr. Walrow. I know you spent a lot of time and a lot of hard work and have done an amazing job. We appreciate everything you've done to keep our students safe.
Any other questions, comments?
Yeah, I would like to make a few comments. I think this is
long overdue. I'm glad our governor finally made a decision on this, and I may go off the rails a little bit here, but I couldn't imagine being a junior or even a senior last year in the spring when we canceled sports for our seniors. I don't think our juniors probably envisioned being in the situation we're in now, where we're talking about, being able to play fall sports. The governor opened up youth sports in the summertime for baseball and basketball, and kind of limited what sports could go and what sports couldn't go. My daughters are soccer players and can't compete. And I would argue and say that basketball is probably more of a contact sport than soccer, so I'm hoping that this triggers some competition for them, because they've asked me, and it's hard to field questions from your kids about why they can't play. So I've been to some of Nate's practices or the football team's practices, and I've seen what they're doing, and I think they're doing everything they have to do. They're being safe. I would also argue that, or debate, that our kids are probably safer and cleaner this year than they've ever been, just with everything that's going on and social distancing and sanitizing. So, for me, I don't understand why you can go watch a little kid's baseball game or a basketball game, but we can't let our athletes in education-based athletics play. So I'm going to support moving forward fall sports. Our kids deserve it. They've worked hard, and it's time for them to compete, so I say we let them play.
Any other comments or questions? Ms. Rourke, anything else you want to say?
No, I know the kids are excited they would compete. My heart broke for those 3 seniors that we had last year that couldn't compete for the state championship and wrestling, and I felt terrible for our spring athletes last year. We're trying to do everything we can. We're going to try to follow everything. I can tell you though, it'll happen. It'll happen, and we're going to try to do everything we can to keep it out. Like I said, our toughest opponent this year is going to be Corona.
But I would say as well, I think you're correct with saying the safest spot is being in our athletic arena, because we are taking all those precautions with taking the temperatures and making sure the social distancing is in place, and we can't control that once they leave our facility. So I would agree that our safest spot is within our confines. Great.
Okay, anything else? Okay, with that being said then, Mr. Barnhart, would you take the roll, please?
Okay, Mr. Cooper?
Aye.
Mr. Aldridge?
Aye.
Ms. Iyer?
Aye.
Mrs. Russell?
Aye.
And Dr. Stephen Wilson?
Okay, thank you. So that motion passes, and I don't believe we have any other items of discussion.
You recorded
Ms. Barnhart?
aye for, your vote was yes?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Mask mumble. Sorry about that. Okay, with that being said, okay, then are we ready for adjournment, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
So moved.
Matt and
Second.
Chris.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Okay, so again, thank you for being with us this morning, and that was real important that we get this out as soon as we can for the players and the families, so that they'll kind of know what their upcoming schedule is. And we wish Mr. Ira and the rest of the teams and coaches a lot of luck of trying to get this organized. We know it's a big job, but I think it's something it's going to be a labor of love, and I think we're all going to work hard to do that. So with that being said, again, thank you for being with us this morning. Thank you for Nelda for being with us today. I'm running our live stream equipment there. Our next regular board meeting will be Monday, August 31st. And with that being said, Mr. Roth, any final words?
Nope, that's it. Just appreciate everybody joining us today for all the hard work. Appreciate the board members coming in this morning, and for Mrs. Russell calling in. So appreciate everyone's efforts, and just hope everyone has a great day today.
Right. And go Trojans.
And go Trojans. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Susan.